Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're getting into building the two-way sorting panel to, for dividing the sheep from one pen to another, and this was my old bale feeder I'd made out of old harrow diamond harrows, and I just took them apart and I welded them together, made square feeder out of them, but that worked great for small square bales, but we're into big round bales now. And but yeah, I got all these pieces. So what I'm gonna do is these longer pieces, I'm gonna use that for my some uprights, because I need three uprights to match up to my other panels, and it'll probably be the width on one end, but it'll be like a triangle with a single gate swinging two ways, kind of in the middle. So coming in the process of just kind of reclaiming all my steel here, and before I start tearing into more harrow bars for making other stuff. But I think I got no use for this one anymore. I got some old round rings off old wooden wheels, and I've been using some of these the shorter bars and weld them around that and turn into a little round feeder for just pitchforking some hay in there for, like, say, for the ram pen or whatever like that. But at least you can flip it on the side, roll it over, and roll it around. Yeah, got a kitten there coming up for a drink of water. The little supervisors. But yeah, I guess I'll put you guys on the stand here, and then we'll probably switch over to time lapse. So this is kind of the start, just kind of reclaiming some of this stuff, and we'll take it from there. Probably won't hear me talking too much when I'm grinding here, but I'm gonna see if I can't get this all apart, because I already got a few of them kind of that's already split apart. I almost got a weld on the back side, so I'll come back to some of those ones in a bit. But yeah, I'll try to grind some of this off here a bit. I'll put you guys on time lapse here until get some of this hacked up here. You don't need to see the hacking it all up, but do a little bit on time lapse, and then after that I'll bring you back when I start figuring out my dimensions and whatnot. It's all just in the back of my mind how I want to build it, and we'll just take you along for the ride. Hey guys, get the idea. So I'm gonna hack this all apart to reclaim all this stuff to make my divider gate, and we'll bring it back after I get it all broken up. And yeah, it doesn't take that terribly long. At least I didn't weld it on that good. But otherwise, yeah, price of metal. Just do what I can to salvage out some of the stuff I no longer need. Okay, we'll bring you guys back later when I get to the point where we're gonna start deciphering my dimensions and whatnot. Well, this is sort of my new sad drawing of what I'm trying to build here. Most people use CAD or cardboard assisted drawings, and me, I'm using my steel assisted drawing, but I didn't want to cut the pieces yet because I had no idea what my angles are going to be. But where the center rod is, I just got them laid out so I had kind of more of a visual because I had no idea what my dimensions were. I seen a picture once, and so I had that idea in the back of my mind. A little bit more complicated. I could have made got rid of these angles on both sides and just had a straight panel, just the sorting gate. But this way I want to put a blocker in here, so as this panel centered, it blocks the path, so just like an extra gate. And then I need to figure out my dimensions, so when it comes to the far side, it sticks out, but the other end of this blocker will come right to where my uprights are going to be. So yeah, so I didn't want to cut any of this metal, so I just laid it out just to kind of give me a visual and do some measuring and kind of monkey with that for a few hours there. But so I'm going to go and probably cut a couple pieces. I'll measure that out and cut two pieces same length just for starters, and then my little pieces for the edges. But yeah, it took me the longest to figure out the angles there, what's actually going to work. And then I'll figure the rest. I'll get the two layers, like this will be, say, the bottom or top layer. And so it'll be two tiers to it. The bottom part of frame, and then be 3 feet up. And then I'll have my uprights where they attach to the other panels. And then we'll kind of figure this thing out as I go along. So I'm just as much as in the dark of this as you guys are. So yeah, as I figure this out, we'll kind of get this thing dealt with and see what I come up with. I'll bring it back after I cut some of these pieces up. In no sense, like how many times you guys need to be watching me just cutting steel on the bandsaw. It kind of goes round and round and round and round. But yeah, I'll cut some of these pieces up and lay them out and figure out a little closer what I'm doing. And then once I got some pieces cut out, and when I start to tack them together, see if it's actually going to work for me or not. Because every time I go to wiggle something, like the center bar, trying to hold it in position, it wants to get away on me. So, hey, I'm going to go cut some of this scraps up here, because that's kind of what I end up getting left with. Because I got a whole pile of them now, so I got a bunch on the floor there and ready to cut off. But yeah, at least I'll repurpose this here. I had no more use for that square feeder, so here, dismember it and make something I got more use for right now. So yeah, it looks kind of funny when I just laid everything out, but yeah, I just needed a visual for spacing and to kind of more centralize it. Because these two bars here, that's just where the uprights are going to be for the opening. And so yeah, it kind of gives you a bit of a visual. Yeah, just when it swings over, it's got to tuck right into here, so where my stopper blocker will come across and swing out of the way and just clear this here post. So then you have to go either that way when you swing it this way, or you swing the gate that way, and then you got no choice except to go that way into another pin. Alrighty, so I'll get some of the stuff cut up there, and then we'll lay it out, and we'll have a look, see how it looks when the pieces are all the proper lengths and whatnot, and we'll take it from there. Okay guys, I kind of got this kind of set up and clamped into place, and Yeah, it wasn't exactly clear on any of the dimensions I wanted, but I kind of sort of figured it out after a lot of toying around with positioning all the whole pieces of scraps there and lining them all up. I finally cut the pieces to the length I want, and yeah, they're not exactly the straightest bars, so I may have to. I'm just going to tack weld it in place, and I may have to tweak it a little bit just to kind of square it up a little bit, because he's got a little bit of a rock to it when I kind of wiggle it back and forth. But yeah, so it's got a little, not quite flat on there, but I'll just get a couple of tacks and I'll kind of tweak it a bit so it sits flat, because this here rim that I'm using, it's nice and flat across the top. Like I use it as a fixture for just setting stuff on. It's one of the flatter things that I have, and most of my projects, they come out pretty square when I just lay it on there for the smaller stuff, and then the bigger stuff, well, I gotta kind of level it or whatever. But in this case, I can't really clamp it with my other clamps to hold it properly. In fact, it's all, these harrow bars are all channel iron, but it scraps, so whatever. So I'm gonna get her kind of tacked up here a little bit, see what we can do with it. Yeah, I'm just trying to tack up the spots that I got the actual proper dimensions. Like, it happens to be a 30-degree angle on these little magnet corners I got, and that's what I kind of figured out. 30 degrees and 30 degrees on here, and that bottom corner is half of that. So, hopefully it works anyway. May have to do a little bit of measuring on here. Let's see what I now can do here. Do a little bit of measuring on this thing and see how close we can get it. Going to do my whole diagonal thing, and yeah, of course I need my glasses for this. Okay. That was at 46 and 5/8 to that one. And 46 and 5/8 on that one. So that part is square. And I'm just going to try to center this here. So 3 feet. 18 inches. I got a center line marked on here. So it's kind of inches to that one. That's pretty close. don't know. Maybe I'll just tack it and get rid of these clamps. I may have to tweak it just a little tiny bit before I weld it up solid. About all I can do with it anyway, since I don't have a good fixture or a table to flatten this all out, so I just kind of hold the valley in place apparently. Well, apparently I got to grind that one off. It didn't sit flat. I feel. Hey, I'll put you guys on time lapse here, and I'll get that kind of sorted out there. And I got to grind that one little weld because it kind of walked up a little bit before I touched it. So I'll bring you back and I'll put you on time lapse. Well, I think I kind of got it sorted. A little bit of a tack weld broke loose, but I think I kind of got it sorted out now. So kind of got it clamped into place where it's going to kind of stay. I'm just going to finish, get these corners welded up anyway. At least that should hold it all in place. hopefully that's going to kind of hold it in place now. I'm just going to double check my measurements. Just going to set it on the floor here. Gotta find a spot here. Yeah. She's pretty good. But yeah, so that's one frame partially done. I'll have to reinforce it because with this real high carpet, these harrow bars, they tend to break out. So I'll cut little collars and I'll just loop it around there and weld those in place. But like I said, I'm just using straps here, so, but otherwise, I'll put this here right side up. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clamp my other frames together on it. Like I'll have to probably just grind off a little bit of this weld on the tips here, and then I'll start setting up for the next step. Well, that should be a little bit easier to deal with now. I don't think I'll just kind of cheat here a little bit. I'm just going to use some magnets on here to kind of hold things in place. Where's my little guys here? I guess I should find another couple of magnets here temporarily. Just more just to kind of hold my pieces in place here, so just that should hold it. Reach around you guys here and grab some of these pieces here. But at least this way I can kind of get the things all squared up here. Like I said, like these bars, they're kind of bent up a little bit, so it's, what do you expect? But it'll work anyway for what I want it for. Come on, let go. bit of warps in these things, but I can kind of take a big bar and I can straighten them out a little bit, but it's not that terribly important that they're a little bit bowed here and there. Yeah, I'll just set these ends up. I think I'll just probably tack weld the end piece in there, and then I can just run the magnets alongside there and it should be fine. Sometimes this is just the easiest way to deal with this. Yeah, well, I guess I'm going to have to see what I can do here about this. I'll just start one corner, I guess, and that's easy enough to pull it together after the fact. At least get it tacked in place if nothing else. Well, I think I'm just going to tack that together a little bit, and we'll see how that fares out. Let's see if I can grip this corner here. There. That'll work for that one for now. Please get the one corner tacked on, and then I'll just start. At least this is when I clamp them together, it kind of doesn't matter with the dimensions, at least it keeps them the same, nothing else. that end together. Okay, so I guess I'll continue putting this thing together and put it on time lapse, otherwise it'll turn into a real long video, so a lot more to be done before you see this thing start taking shape. Alright guys, so I'm going to finish just welding this out on the inside. I pretty much got it all, kind of somewhat, it's all squared up now. It's not the straightest. I'll shut the welder up here for a second. There, shut the welder off a little quieter. But like I said, it's working half of that one, kind of the same thing. Right to the point, 46 3/4. 46 3/4. So yeah, so what's going to end up happening is I've got some longer legs there, but these things will be kind of stood off, like it'll have things up like that. It'll be a lot taller obviously, but I'll have to lay it on their sides to basically to clamp these things in place so I can make my for my uprights, for my connector links. But in the meantime, like I said, I'll just get this finished welding out on this portion, and I'm gonna cut up some pieces. I already got a couple, but I got two more, but I've got to straighten them out a little bit. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfectly square or anything like that, because you got to figure like the one end is, this end here is only going to have one upright on it. So when my gate panel is going to attach to here on the inside, and I'll have my connector links to go to the different pins there. But it's only going to be the single panel, and this is going to slide move from side to side. And it doesn't matter if these things are a little crooked. That part doesn't matter, because the gate won't even come anywhere near it. You just the one end piece, it's only got a, it'll probably be cleared by a couple inches on each side. Like it's not a tight ordeal. And then so you kind of have the gate panel kind of lined up in there, so it'll go from side to side, and in the center part, because I already had it kind of measured out here, so from center to center. So that'll be my blocker panel, and when it comes around, it'll go right through, and it'll end up right about here, which will stop right where the other leg is going to be, so they can't escape out this way, and it's only going to go so far, and it'll just kind of stick out the sides, but then they can take off that way or this, or whichever way I direct the gate. Like I said, it's kind of a little tough to explain, but you guys will see it as it starts taking shape. And but yeah, in the meantime, I'll just get this finished welding out in these two sections, and then basically get set up for making my uprights. I'll bring you back then. Okay, Or I guess this were, yeah, I kind of stood this thing up. Don't remember where I left off on this here. Had the two pieces cut out, but this here, these two little side bars here, that was stability thing. But otherwise, one of my connectors is going to be on this end. My panels will be hooked onto here. And this will be the other end. There's a 24-inch gap in between here. So that way they can run through there. And then the gate will attach to that center pillar on the other side. Those two side ones, they'll disappear. And there will be another brace on each of these two corners, because this corner here has to be left open for my swing gate to pass underneath, so there can't be anything in the way there, and that's plus their runway. So I just adding some extra braces in there, like I'll double it up just to strengthen it a little bit. But yeah, okay, so I'll set you up and I'll start to let's put it on time lapse, I guess. Start tack welding, because I got to kind of level it and hold it, and as you see I got a little ratchet strap on here. I had to kind of pull it one way, and it's still pretty wiggly, but once I weld it, it'll stabilize quite a bit. Like when I had it, I had some of the harrow bolts like on the bottom there, kind of holding it together. That made it a whole lot more stable, but I had to go up a little higher, so I got my spacers already cut for in between. And okay, so I'll put you on time lapse for a bit and get some of this here welded up and kind of starting to get the picture what it's kind of sort of look like, I guess. But yeah, I'll start welding her up and watch it take shape. Like I said, I had no idea what the dimensions are going to be, so I just sort of trying this, trying that, and see what's going to work. And now I kind of wish I would have made it a little bit narrower, have this here point here, right where this post is. I could have narrowed this here up quite a bit, and I wouldn't have to have so much travel on my swing gate. And I could have narrowed this up a little bit too. Didn't have to be 24 inches. It could have been like 18 inches. Like, I know the cheapies. We got a couple fat ones, but for the most part, they'll squeak through an 18-inch passage. But anyways, so I'll set you up on time lapse and we'll start welding some of this stuff out. Alright, I probably made a little bit of a boo-boo here. I had to grind this one weld back off, like my spacer spreader bar in here. My extra support brace, it was also, this crossbar was an 1/8 inch too high, so I had to grind it off, tap it. I guess the clamp must have slipped a little bit when I was welding up, so I just ground it down and tapped it down, and it's all good now. I just got to finish welding out these things, clamp it together, and kind of just finish out some of the welding here. And but otherwise it's kind of getting somewhat pretty rigid now. Now I get it kind of stabilized, and so yeah, it's starting to look like something anyway. But yeah, like I said, these bars will disappear, and I got some spacers that'll go off the end here down. That's also kind of blocks them a little bit as the gate swings in the corner, and I got some little brackets to come around here and weld them in to keep that from flexing. But anyways, yeah, put you guys back on time lapse for a bit, and Let's get after it here. Okay, I got this kind of all welded out. The only thing I got left to do in this framework is I cut these little chunks out because being the fact they're just kind of butt weld together, I'm just gonna stick it in there, weld that in. That'll just support this here corner. So I just got 4 little pieces to like this here to weld in just for braces, but otherwise yeah, she's good and solid. And like I said, I got to put some feet underneath it so it'll kind of match up to the gate panels like that to get it about 2.5 inches off the ground. And I don't know, I guess the sheep are making their cold weather package for these panels. I guess that's, maybe have to get them to rub some more and then we can sell them off as cold weather panels. I don't know, we'll figure that out, I guess. But anyways, yeah, so I just got to put connector links on these uprights here. That's why they're up so high. Because when I line up the panel, I got to have those feet on the bottom to get it up high enough. So that extra 2.5, 3 inches will bring it up to about there. And get my connector links in here. So I can hook my panels up for my chute. And then just got to build the gate for it on the inside. And it'll have a blocker. Well, I guess I better stand back a little bit. Yeah, I just have a kind of a blocker in this opening here. I narrowed it down. I had originally 24 inches, but I measured on the wrong side of my uprights. I measured on the inside instead of the outside, so I had to move them in a little. Because then now when the stopper block comes across, it'll just clear these here posts and it'll stop in this corner. That's why I had to put this little bulge out on it. Little diamond shape, but otherwise just slowly coming together here. And I guess for just scrap metal from Harrow, turn that pile of crap into something useful. And once it's all done, I'll give it a coat of paint, make it last. But otherwise, this stuff's been sitting in the weeds for how many years? So I guess I don't think it'll rot out too soon. This high carbon steel doesn't really rust through that much. Alrighty, so I'll bring you back when I get something else done on it. I'll just do these here little tabs, these little support brackets on here off camera. So otherwise, once I get set up for the gate panel, then I'll bring you guys back for that. Alrighty, we'll see you in a bit. Alright, it's a few days later here, busy doing other stuff, and this is going to be my kind of my hinge point of my gate. And this is kind of my guide tube here. Took me a while to figure out how to clamp these little pieces of angle iron inside, because what I end up here, I'll find a little piece here. Whoops, wrong one. Kind of the same deal here, because I just need a little bit of clearance. So I got some smaller this harrow bars. So I kind of got it set inside there, and then I stick the tubing to it. That's kind of the idea on that one. So basically I kind of stuck that in there. Put a washer in for a spacer, because this center pipe right here, that's going to be attached to the gate itself. And I got to finish welding this in, but yeah, I didn't show it on camera, but yeah, it took me a few hours to figure out how to hold it in place, because I kept wanting to slip, trying to center it in that harrow channel bar like that. But so I kind of got it set up, got it spaced out, that washer, at least that way it's when I go to put the gate in, it's not gonna, you're not gonna have to fight with it. At least has a little bit of leeway, but I wanted the height so it's gonna ride on there. I can put a thinner washer, but not necessary. But at least then I can oil the gate pins. But yeah, using this here just a piece of tubing there, and that just ensured that all my pinholes all line up. So when I put the gate on, at least I can, because these are the pins I'm going to end up using, and it's the same material as this here that I'd hacked up, but this here one I saved just for an alignment pin. But so they'll just drop in there. So that should be fine. And but yeah, having that little bit of slack in there, that'll be fine. Okay, I'm gonna put you guys on time lapse here, and I'll finish welding this part out, and then I'll figure out. I'm just gonna have to take my bar, the one I got set up here. Let's see, my longer one. So I have another bar which will be sitting backwards towards it. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, because I'll have to set that up first to get that right. Then I'll build the gate. Okay, I'll set you up on time lapse. I'll weld this out, and then I'll figure out what to do next. Like, this is all off the top of my head. I got no measurements. Hadn't, after looking at the picture, I had no idea what I was doing with it. And then I got to figure out this, so I can only do one piece at a time. Because once I get to this point, I still need those pipes in there to space it out, because I only have long enough to reach. I don't want it to touch in there, but I'll have to figure all that out yet. So yeah, I'm just kind of figuring this out as I go along. So this is right off the top of my head. Like, no plans on this, no drawings. And sometimes I find it easier just to go with it and add on to it as I see fit, and we'll make something out of it here yet. Okay, we'll bring you back, put your time lapse here for a bit. Okay, I got those pin holders welded in place, so now you just basically shove these other pins in. Like when it comes time to put these in, that's gonna hold the gate in. And yeah, this here one, apparently I need to trim that off a little bit. No big deal. Yeah, it's enough to drop down through my pinhole, so if it sticks up a little, no big deal. So apparently it wasn't perfectly centered, but whatever. That's still gonna work anyway. Alrighty, so I'm gonna start setting up my next bar here. So this here is gonna kind of sit up in here, so I just got it sitting where it's the proper height right there, and up top so it's equal height. This one's a 1/2 inch longer. The bar is going to go on the other side, and so I'm just going to put the other brackets on here and put so the pipe sits flush on there, so that way it holds it to that height on this bottom one, and then I'll have the little 1/8 inch gap on the top one, which is fine. But I want it to ride on the bottom, so at least that way it stays put, and so I can swing it back and forth. So yeah, I'll get this all set up, and then I'll set you up here, and I'll show you what I got set up, and then I'll weld it in. Hey guys, I kind of got it sorted out here, and so I put that spacer down in the bottom, so I got it to the right height, and so my cross pin in there, that one's going back to back, so that's my end rail for the gate panel that's going to go across, and that's going to be my hinge mechanism. I just found this is the easiest way to set this part up, and then I can just square the gate panel up to that thing. This rod's bar is a little bit, a 1/2 inch longer than the other one, because I just wanted a little extra. I can always grind it off if I have to, but it's going to be a 1/4 inch. It just welds a little bit better, have a little overlap there, but it'll be fine. But so I just got a clamp in the middle here, using that bar, keep the pins all lined up. Trying to line it up with these channel bars, these harrow bars, is a little bit of a challenge, but we're getting her done. So I'll put you guys on, maybe you guys can watch here for a little bit. I'll weld up at least one side here anyway. Let me get set up here and kind of show you. I'm gonna get it tacked up anyway, so. Like I said, mine is kind of working overtime, like I said, no plans or anything with this, just sort of building off the top of my head, trying to figure out dimensions. So first one I built like this, and I just seen the one picture, and I figured, well, a bit of a challenge if it's a regular gate without a stopper. So yeah, I kind of sort of figured out it might be a little bit too wide. I don't know, but I'll make it work anyway. there we go, that's welded in. Take out the spacer bar there now. But yeah, otherwise, this is going to be my hinge mechanism, and I'll have a panel across here. It'll get welded on the inside here, but so it'll swing from side to side. So that'll definitely work anyway. So I guess now it's time for me to kind of build the gate thing. But yeah, otherwise, I think it's going to work just fine. I just have to square it up because I noticed I should have thought about that sooner. But apparently I should have put a spacer in that bottom bar there, because with the slop in the pin, because this side here is level. This here, the way it's hanging, I should have brought the bottom out a little bit. I may cut it back off and put a shim in there to sort out that problem. So that way, if I make the gate square, I don't want it sagging on this other end here. I want it to sit level. See how I'll probably have to cut that bottom, just grind it weld off, put a little washer underneath or something, just to make up for that little bit of slop in here in the pins. But yeah, we'll get that sorted out and then start working on the gate, and then I'll kind of bring you back when I get to that point where I get something else kind of concocted up here, and we'll see how it works. Like I said, this is all a trial and error thing, and build it as I go, as I think of how it should be done, but hopefully it works. I'll find out in a month's time, because the auction time's in a month's time. I need the sorting gate. Hey, see you guys in a bit. There you guys got that first bar that I put in for my hinge. So I got the other bars cleaned up, and I got it all squared off now using my 90-degree clamps, which works ideal as long as you got your measurements correct. And even though this one is a 1/2 inch longer, because I wanted a 1/4 inch stick it out on each end for a little bit better weld on the hinge side. So I just put some 1/4 inch spacers on the end of my clamps, and that centers it up so the measurement on that end is exactly the same as on this end for width. And so it's all squared, and I measured from corner to corner, triangulated it, and it's perfectly square, and I kind of leveled it right now so it's sitting. It's not going to be warped when I weld it together. So all there is to do is, I guess, start welding her up. I think I'll start on this far side so I don't burn myself here. A little hard getting into these corners right now, but once I get it kind of welded in these corners, then I'll take it out of the clamps and just finish welding it out. can't get into those corners right now, but I'll at least weld the ends of this to make sure it stays square anyway. There. I think that should hold it for now. Get these clamps out of here so I can at least flip it over if nothing else. There we go. And I'm just gonna, let's see which is my top side. This side is my top side. Alright, just gonna see if you guys are in the frame here at all. Just rearrange you guys a little bit, and I just want to put a little bit of weld on here just to make sure it doesn't get out of kilter on me. Yeah, that's why I put the extra 1/4 inch on this end here. I'll probably put a little bit of a brace in there, but once I put the mesh on here, it won't be quite so bad. There we go. Like I said, I'll have to put a few more spots on there, but otherwise, for the most part, this has been on hammer. Okay. Make sure, don't grab anything on the hot side. Okay, this side is up. Well, let's see how this thing fits. Get you guys in frame here, and There we go. I'll aim you guys up a little bit. There we go. That should do it. Hey, so I got my pins here, and there. Well, it's not too shabby. Oh, by the way, I did cut this here one part of my hinge off, and I put a washer in between for this reason, because with the slop in the pin, so you get that much up and down movement. But now with the weight sitting on it, it's sitting pretty much same thing all the way across here. So yeah, this is kind of the way she's going to work. I'll just grab a little chunk of bar here. Let's see what I do with it. I believe this is kind of about the, yeah, it's about the right width. But it'll sit across here. And I know that thing is kind of hot. But it'll get welded onto here. And that'll be my stopper. I've got to center it. But I'll just sort of hold it at an angle like that. But as it comes around, this will come, it'll just stick out to there. I'll have some stoppers. So there'll be tabs on there so it doesn't go right through. So there'll be a mesh panel across here. So that'll direct them that way. And if I want to go that way, this way I can stop them when I got my little gate in here. And otherwise, if I wanted to go that way, I just bring it over here. Like I'll have some stopper tabs on here, so it's only going to come so far. So I just, maybe a little one, the thing is I like to shorten this here bar up a little bit. I'm just going to try clamping it on there, see what happens. Let's see, where's my little clamps? Had it here a second ago. There it is. I just want to hang on to this thing when it's hot. But yeah, it's kind of centered. And that's kind of centered. That way. There, that'll kind of, see right now this here clamp is obviously going to hit. I'll see if I can turn it around the other way here. Do it from this side, I guess. Just try to center it on here. Yeah, I'll probably have to make them a little shorter, but that's okay. We'll figure it out, I guess. Yeah, so basically, just going to come up to here. Like I said, this panel here, I may either have to bend them a little bit, which it probably will bend. So that way when it comes by, there's my stopper. And then I'll have some tabs that can only go so far. So I'm going to have a kind of a handle on here. So then I'll have a little pusher handle standing up here so I can hold it. And then all I've got to do is just move it out to there. But I want to be standing over here so when the animals come through. But otherwise, I think she's going to work. But like right now, when I'm centered, I don't have any real clearance. This here bar is not 4 here. It's only about an 1/8 gap, which is no big deal. I'll have probably about an inch gap, so that'll get rid of this little clearance issue right here. So that's not going to be that much of an issue once I weld it on, and it'll probably bow a little bit anyway, so I'll get my clearance. But anyway, so that's where we're at with this here thing anyway, so yeah, if I didn't have the stops, it could swing so they can go both ways, but that's not the whole purpose of this thing. It is for dividing when you got some going to auction, some staying, whatever. This way you run them through, and as they come through, you know, if you want them to come into this pen, or you know, whether it's the go pen or the stay pen, or if you're vaccinating or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I think it's gonna work. As I said, I'll put some stop tabs. It only comes so far. So I guess that's not too shaggy for making something from started off as old harrow bars and turned it into a square feeder I used for a couple of years, and then built another round feeder and scrapped my feeder back out, retrieved my old harrow bars, and that's all this whole thing is made of. There, aside from the couple little pieces of tubing in here, you know, for my pin holders, but otherwise there's little brackets in here. Those are little harrow bars. But yeah, it's all made from old diamond harrows. That's all I used on this thing for scraps, and that's going to be my dividing gate, or my sorting gate rather. Yeah, so I'll get back at her, and I'll have to make up the little panel for the end here anyway. So I'm going to have coming across the top here, and then across the bottom, and then a bar down each end. But I'm going to shorten it up probably an inch. This here is just one I was cutting the little pieces for the little brackets. But otherwise, yeah, I'm using these small ones like this. And like I said, when I weld it in the middle here, it's going to bow in a little, which is perfect. So I'm not going to have a clearance issue like I got right now on that one. But see, that one doesn't hit. And going that way, that one doesn't hit. That's just the way it's sitting right now, so I'll have to tweak it a little bit. But once I put the mesh, but otherwise I'm real happy with the clearance on here. Like, couldn't ask for anything better. Like, it's pretty much squared up right across. Like, so yeah, just putting that washer on that hinge, because otherwise, yeah, if you lift up on it, you could tell you got that slop in the pins, and it comes about 1/8 inch from hitting when I pull it up. So that worked out perfect. I'm glad I caught that before I got too far anyway. So yep, a little bit of more fabrication here, and we'll get her done. And if you guys watched any of my previous video making gate panels, I got those little wire rods, just like what's on these panels here. I got that I kind of salvaged out, the excess ones, and those I will weld them across, space them out every 6 inches, and put a few across the bottom. Like up high, I don't have to, you know, 6-inch spacing is fine, but just the bottom one for the lambs, I'll have to make it a little tighter so they don't try to crawl through. But other than that, yep, I'll just continue on. I'll bring you guys back when get to that point. Hey guys, I got to the point now where I cleaned up my extra pieces. This is going to be for my end cap, which will be welded on to the end here for my closing part of the gate opening. And so I got it all set up here in my 90-degree clamps, and got it all measured out and squared off. And so I'll just put you guys on time lapse, and I'll get that kind of welded up there, and probably attach it onto there. Hey, bring you back shortly on time lapse. Well, got that end cap welded in place, but now you can kind of see how this thing is gonna. I got some mesh wires the leftovers from the other panels I made, which are gonna, one wire come down here and then a couple rods across top and bottom on here. And then across the side here, I'm gonna have the mesh rods going across all my pieces left over. But otherwise, the only thing left to do is just make a little stopper thing so I can lock it in the center. But I was going to put just a handle on so I can pull it across. But now you guys can kind of see where, when I open it up this way, where sheep will go out that way. And this will have a stop on here so it can't get past this rail. But it blocks it. And at the same time, when it comes around, it blocks that opening, so I need a center lock mechanism to keep them held back. And then if I want to come this way, it'll just swing over to that side, and it also blocks them from getting in that corner. So yeah, that's all I got left to do on it, but hey, so yeah, I'll just throw a little bit of some pictures in there, or some time lapse will be making a latch mechanism and some of this mesh here, but otherwise don't want to make it too long a video, so I'll probably put more on the time lapse there. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Hey you guys, I got my connector links done up, like just the way the panels are. I need the double links on one end and the other end is single, and all my panels match up where these are centered in here, but there's a bit of up and down movement, so with humpy bumpies, and I usually double this up for a simple fact. When you're kind of going up and down hills, at least you got a chance or choice of pinning up in the back hole or the front hole on either or to make yourself a little bit of clearance. And plus, if I want to run another panel off to the side here, I can pin a panel in here, and I can still pin a panel in here. That's the whole idea why I keep running the double things. But anyways, so I got this part together, and I put the mesh on the end piece here, and that's just the leftover scraps. Like, this is all basically leftovers or scraps, and you know, aside from the leftover rods that I cut off the mesh panels off the edges, that's what I save them for stuff like this. Now I can fill it in, and it's just like using an expensive mesh panel, but this is just all leftovers. So yeah, salvage them out, and it makes up for this stuff, and yeah, otherwise the rest of everything is just all diamond harrow channel iron, I guess. You know, it started off as harrows and turned into a little square feeder, and now it's going to be a sorting gate. But anyways, I'll put you guys on time lapse here, and I'll get these here mesh welded up, and then I should be done. I think I may put one crossbar in about here, because if with our sheep, when they get a chance to run down a laneway, and if the gate is closed here in the center, they will jump over top. So having the extra crossbar up about in here somewhere, that'll prevent them from jumping. They see that and then they don't try. But if they think there's a way out, they'll go for it, especially when they're being rounded up and stuff like that. But anyways, put you guys on time lapse, and we'll get this thing welded out. Well guys, I think we got just about have her done. All I got left to do on here yet is right on the center line here, when this thing is in this part, because these panels will pin up on either side here. And this, when it's closed, I just need to figure out a little latch mechanism that'll hold it, and then I gotta put a handle on top of here with the bar sticking out on either side so I can actually reach it, because from the corner here I can only reach so far. So I'm gonna put a, oh yeah, I guess I can only reach so far, so little short stubby arms I guess, but if I got at least a handle on there, then I'll be able to reach to swing it right over, and be able to pull all the way back here. And there's going to be some stopper tabs on here, so this thing can't swing wide open. And yeah, other than that, I think it's going to suffice. But yeah, so this is what my whole idea was, and yeah, all I did was just see this in a picture, but yeah, it'll definitely work, I think, because once I put the handle on, and then they come through, shoot out either that way, or I can swing it over this way, and they can shoot out this way, or I can, once I put the latch on there, then I can lock it in the center. So I think this is going to be pretty good. I'm still saying I may put a brace on here because they jump like jackrabbits. But so anyways, so I'm going to leave it here for now. Maybe I'll bring you back because I got to go cut hay tomorrow. So I'm not going to be working on this tomorrow at all for a while, maybe later on in the day. And by the time, then I'll probably put a crossbar on there, and then I got to figure out what I can do with the handle, and I'll bring you back for that last little bit, and then after that, I'll be just taking a flap disc and clean off all these here little sharp edges, or you bump into, you're going to cut yourself. And the same with the ends on here. I don't want some lamb or something else and poking an eye out on these sharp edges. So yeah, so I'll bring you back once I figure out a latching mechanism for it, and then we'll take it from there. Hey, catch you guys in a bit. Well guys, took a little bit of time off camera here just to kind of finish this thing off. All I end up actually did on here is I put this little crossbar in here and put these tabs on top and bottom here, so I got kind of a stopper in there, so at least when it swings back and forth, it's got it hits up against there. And then this is my kind of my push handle, and yeah, it kind of looks like some horns on here, but that's just the harrow teeth. I just stuck them in there, but yeah, definitely it works, because now I can just stand up in here because the center is blocked, and I can reach all the way across to the other side without actually having to struggle. So yeah, it's definitely going to work. You can just kind of kick it over. Like, the only thing that's not that I didn't actually make was this here latch. So it locks in there, and yeah, it's the only thing is a store-bought thing, but everything else, yeah. Started out life as diamond harrows, then I parted those out, turned them into a square feeder, and now that's my new dividing panel, or dividing gate. So my other panels will attach here and one on the other end, and direct them whichever way. And just to release this thing, I just give it a twist, and whichever way I need it to go, you know, I just, that time I'm using two hands obviously, but yeah, I just thought it was kind of appropriate for handles. I was trying to figure what I was going to use for handles, but yeah, the harrow teeth, I just kind of ground off the sharp edges and whatnot, so you don't deburr everything, so I didn't, you know, we don't get cut on stuff like that. But yeah, there you have it. I'm going to go and drag it off to the side somewhere here, and cooled off today, so it's not 30 degrees like it was yesterday, so yeah, it's down to like 18 degrees today, Celsius. But yeah, I'm going to go drag it off in the corner and give it a coat of paint, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. Well guys, got it finished off here, and don't laugh at my paint job. I realized after I went to get my paint, I had about a little less than half a rattle can of blue. So I sprayed that out, and then figure, oh, the next best color kind of blend in. Here's some green, just a regular green, not the John Deere green stuff. I didn't want to waste that because I got other stuff to deal with it. So yeah, and didn't have enough to paint it fully green, so now it's kind of a combination blue and green. Oh well, I don't think the sheep are going to care, but at least they'll kind of keep it from rusting, and oh well. And yeah, so other than that, I guess if you guys like this kind of stuff, yeah, just please subscribe, and you know, maybe hit the like button. But yeah, it doesn't cost you guys anything to just click on that subscribe button, whether you come back to the channel or not again. But even just to have that subscription or whatever, and you know, sometimes I'll have some pretty interesting stuff that you may like that somebody else maybe doesn't. You know, not everybody likes the same thing, I understand that. But yeah, some of these projects, and oh, my inspector showed up too. How about that? Hey Cheeto. But anyways, yeah, so hit that subscribe, and catch you guys in the next one.